Today we're in downtown Bakersfield and we're touring this 2-bed, 1-bath property on 788 square feet. Now, if you're looking for a property that's going to be under $2,000 in mortgage payment, well, this may be a property for you. So you're looking roughly, let's say you were purchasing this property for yourself to live in, you and your family, FHA loan. So FHA loan is going to be about 3.5% down. So down payment, you're looking roughly around $7,875. Now, closing costs on something like this, and now closing costs is going to depend really, on credit, and your mortgage payment's going to depend on credit too. You're looking roughly between, that $8,000 to $10,000 mark in closing costs. So probably to close on a property like this, keep you under $2,000 in your payment. You're looking roughly, around give or take $16,000 to $18,000. Now there are programs though, right? You can go your down payment assistance program where we can get that $8,000 down payment covered. Your closing costs, you would have to come up with your closing costs, or possibly, and I can tell you, out here in Kern County in Bakersfield, we're kind of switching into a buyer's market. So you may not come out of pocket really anything other than your deposit, which on something like this, you're probably looking between $2,000 to $1,000. And then we get the seller to cover your closing costs. So how do we come out of pocket with little down? One, we qualify for a first-time home buyers program or a down payment assistance program, and that will get your down payment covered. So your $7,875, boom, covered by the down payment assistance program. Usually you're going to want a credit score around 640 to qualify for that program. So let's say we got you a 640 credit score. We qualify you for the down payment assistance program. Boom, down payment is covered. Now, one thing to note, if you go down payment assistance, payment's going to be a little bit higher because the government is lending you money. That money is not free. Interest rate's going to be a little bit higher. And you're probably going to have to pay that money back depending on the program you qualify for. You're going to have to pay that money back if you ever sell. They're just not going to give you, that $7,875 for free. You will have to pay that back. Now, closing costs. So boom, we got your down payment assistance. We got your down payment covered. Closing costs. At an FHA loan, we can ask for up to 6%. So we could ask for, around $16,000 back in closing costs. And we just talked about your closing costs is probably going to be somewhere between $8,000 to $10,000. So let's say we got the full amount of closing costs. Boom, now we have the closing costs covered by the seller because they gave you $16,000, but we only need 10. Chris, what do we do with that extra $6,000 that we just have floating around? What can we do with that? Well, with the extra money you have, you can do something called a rate buy down. So you get that $6,000, you give it to your lender, and you buy down your interest rate. So that just means, let's say you were at a 6.5 interest rate. With the extra $6,000 we give it to your lender, we buy your rate down, and now we go from a 6.5 to like a 6.2 or a 6.3. Now we just saved you $200 to $300 in your payment. So, that's how we can maybe work some numbers and maybe come out of very little money on a property like this, right? Little to no money, only your deposit. So let's give you a tour on this. Now, let's talk about payment real quick. I know I've kind of been all over the place right now. Let's talk about payment real quick. Depending on credit, you're probably looking somewhere between $17,000 to $19,000 on something like this for a monthly payment. So if you're looking for something under $2,000 in a mortgage payment, this price right here would keep you there. So down payment, $7,875. Closing costs between $8,000 to $10,000. If you want to come out of pocket, no money, we go down payment assistance. Then we ask the seller to cover the closing costs. Now you may only be out of pocket $2,000 to $3,000 for your deposit. So now that we broke all that down, I know it was a lot. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can comment in the comment section below. You can reach out to me or my team. My number was at the beginning of the video, but if not, 661-444-8156. Reach out to me and we can go over options on how to save you with your payment, how to come out of pocket as little as possible. We can go over all those options. So this is give you a tour. Now, like we talked about, this is a 2-bed, 1-bath. No AC, no swamp cooler on this. So you're going to see just a ton of ceiling fans. They did put a mini split in this property. I can tell you, as someone who's shown a ton of houses, and even been in houses. Those mini splits work really well. Better than the old like window units and things like that. Those mini splits actually cool down the property and cool them down pretty quick. So we're seeing these a lot go into properties now, especially some of the older homes like this one in downtown Bakersfield where they used to be swamp. It's a cheaper option than putting an AC unit in. You see these mini splits go in. So, but let's take a look. So, living room area, decent size, not huge or anything like that, but you know, you can fit a couple couches in here and have you know, a few different options of maybe where you could put your TV, whether it's this wall behind me or you have this wall too. So, you know, you would have some options to move your furniture. You know, sometimes we walk into some properties and especially on new construction, sometimes like it's only going to go one way. If you have a sectional or anything, you're not going to ever be able to move that. But a couple options in here of how you could rearrange your furniture. Not the biggest room, but not the smallest. I've seen smaller rooms than this. Now your first bedroom's right off the living room. This would probably be your master because the other room's not as big. So decent sized room. You have the small little closet right behind me. You could definitely fit a queen bed in this room. If you go king, it's going to take up your whole bedroom. You're going to roll out of bed and you're going to stand right in the doorway and walk out. You're not going to have any room to move around if you went king bed in this room. But you could fit a queen in this room and still be pretty comfortable in here. But king, it's gonna take up this whole room. Now, only one bathroom in this property, but they have renovated it. So they did gut it. They did some new carpet. They did new flooring and stuff like that. So you have the shower soaker tub option with the new vanity, just all white, you know, kept it simple. And then right off your master bathroom, you have the guest bedroom. Decent sized room. Like I said, this is not the biggest room, but still a good size. You would probably use your other one as the master. This closet behind me is a little bigger. So, I mean, if you want the bigger closet, then maybe use this one as your master, but your other bedroom in there is a little bit bigger. So, now, what about the kitchen? Good sized kitchen. They went with the granite countertops, as you can see behind me. They went with granite countertops. You know, they've put a few cabinets in here, not a ton, as you can see behind me. But kitchen-wise, good sized kitchen. Your dining room table probably goes somewhere right in this area, but I feel like you have a good room. It's not crowded in here, so good sized kitchen. So I feel like they utilize the space really well for the size of this property. It's only 788 square feet. And you're probably wondering, well, to get a visual of how big that is, if you ever been into a two-car garages are about, you know, 400 feet or a little bit over, you know, between like 400 to 500 square feet. So it's about two-car garages big. That's about how big this property is. Now, one good thing about this property is you do have a big yard. Front yard's a good size, and then you also have a decent sized yard behind me. Let's take a look at that. So you could actually convert that into a little studio, a little ADU. It's boarded up right now, but something you can convert. There's alley access. You could actually gate this off right here and rent that out. You could probably rent that out. We actually had one where there was a detached garage. It was about 400 square feet. We just kind of talked about that a little bit. And that little one studio was renting out for like $1,100. My client's payment was like $2,400. So, you know, they converted theirs and their payment was under $2,000. So their little mini unit that they were renting out was covering half of their mortgage. So you could do something like that. So even let's say you rented that out for like, you know, $800-900 and your payment $1,700. So, you know, you have a payment on your house now around $800-900 a month. Very doable. You're not even be able to get rent really that cheap and own your own property. So, like I said, you can convert this into like a little studio, good size, fence this off. They can have the alley access to come in back there. And like I said, you could go another, you know, wooden fence right here get your privacy, still have a decent yard. So a lot of possibilities with this property. East Bakersfield, right now we're downtown, but East Bakersfield has a lot of opportunities like that, as they have a lot of detached garages in the back. So we actually see that quite often out in East Bakersfield, where they convert, a lot of those houses into ADU, which is an additional dwelling unit. They convert them into an ADU, they rent them out, and then they cash flow off that. Or that little unit brings in money, it covers your mortgage payment. Or rent both units out and just cash flow on both units. So definitely for the price, you're going to be under $2,000 in this house. Convert that, a lot of possibilities, because if you convert that back unit back there into a small little, studio, rent it out $800-900, maybe you can get $1,000. Like I said, we just had one not far from this property on California, where, like I said, my clients were renting it out for over $1,000. It's covering half of their mortgage. So a lot of options for a property like this. If you're looking maybe for your first property, the payment scares you, and you can do something like that and convert that. Like I said, your payment's probably going to be somewhere between, $700 to $900 if you're renting that back unit out. Put a little bit of money into that, since they've already put money into this one. Like, they've renovated carpet, the tile flooring, your granite countertops, your mini split right here. Like, they've done a lot of things in this one where you wouldn't have to put money into it, where now, you can put money into that back unit, convert it into a little studio, rent it out. Now we're under $1,000 in your payment if we're renting that unit out. So we're going to step out like always, let you come in and take a tour. And if you ever have any questions, and if you are just starting your home buying journey, maybe you're selling and you need to know what your property is worth. You're selling to buy and you need to know what that process looks like. Feel free to reach out. We can do a over the phone consultation. We can get together in person. Maybe you don't live here in Bakersfield, but you're in California, you're in a different state. We do Zooms also. So I also do virtual tours. I have clients who are out of town. We do virtual tours through FaceTime or Zoom. We can do virtual tours that way too. There's a bunch of different options. So feel free to reach out. My number will be in the comment section below. Call me, text me, email me, but let's step outside so you can come in and take a tour.